Bonjour. You all missed me, didn't you? The last time most of you remember me talking was when I said au revoir, when I had to leave the White House. You're all probably wondering where you're at today. We're in the Hall of Men. It's where you go when you're a man and you have good in your heart. This is where you'll wind up. 2,000 light years from home, we'll call it. I choose to speak to you tonight, or today, depending upon where you are, because an old adversary of mine died, and he'll be coming here soon because he was a real man, Ted Kennedy. Now, like all real men, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. Now, you all probably know that. Now, neither was Ted Kennedy. I don't think that Kopechne family was at his goddamn funeral. Now, one thing about where I am, let me tell you, is you can't lie, but you get to enjoy yourself. If it's possible, you may get to meet some other people here. People like Eisenhower, people like George Washington, George Patton, Moses, Jesus. Ordinary people. A man that tried to take care of his family. A man that worked hard. A man maybe like Morris Levin. Went to work every day, tried to do the right thing, had good in his heart. But this is your reward. And you're alive at the age where you want to be. I'm about 51 years old now, but I know everything that happened to me in my life, and I wanted to talk to you because I know you all miss me. Maybe y'all don't remember, but I took quite a beating from you in 1974, and maybe some of you might learn something. Probably you won't, because from what I can tell, you Americans today are a bunch of dumb, cocksucking morons. Oh, and yes, I can use foul language where I am. The way I talk normally, you know, like on those fucking tapes. See, I had good in my heart. And God knows that I had good in my heart. Maybe I could explain a few things. Now, maybe I'm not as good looking as one of those fucking Kennedy boys. But I did okay. I married a beautiful woman, my wife Pat. I had two wonderful daughters who I love very much, Julie and Tricia. Now, lots happened since I left that fucking White House. Probably you dumb Americans don't know this, but in 1974, where you're all worried about if I was obstructing justice some fucking way, I was trying to get national health care for every American. No bull fucking shitting around. Oh, I'm a Republican too. A terrible Republican. A person like Ralph Nader, for instance. Most of you don't get it, but his platform is basically my platform from 1974, and you all think he's a left-wing nut. See, Ralph has good in his heart. He's a little crazy. Probably saved a million people's lives with his fucking seatbelts and airbags and so forth, but they all make a fool of him. Who do you elect president? Some guy that ran a fucking business into the ground 4 times. Never had to work a day in his life. That little punk. George W. Bush. Oh, but he'll wind up here. Because just because you don't like someone, it's what's in your heart that counts. And Bush, and believe it or not, that Cheney character too, now they have good in their heart. Now someone like Hitler, now he's crazy. He's not here. He's in hell. Well, there's some people I don't agree with that are here. But God knows I had good in my fucking heart. People like to say, oh, Nixon's paranoid. Nixon's paranoid. I had the 1960 election stolen from me by a fucking bunch of greaseballs in Chicago. But they put Kennedy in office, huh? Oh, I'm paranoid, huh? I didn't challenge the election because I didn't want to. You don't argue with the fucking man. See, maybe some of you remember Eisenhower's farewell speech where he's talking about the military-industrial complex. Well, let me tell y'all something. What he's talking about in layman's terms is he's talking about the man. And let me tell you something. You don't fuck with the man. I pulled us out of Vietnam. Yeah, sure, I had to bomb the shit out of them. But I cut the defense budget. And I made peace with Red China. The man didn't like that. So Dick Nixon had to go. That was my punishment, see? I understand that. Now Jack Kennedy, the last day in office, he signed an agreement saying that Vietnam was a lost cause, wasn't worth shit. Get the fuck out of there. The man doesn't like that. Man doesn't like when you steal an election for him, and then your brother comes after you as Attorney General. So they fuck with the man. See, the brother Teddy, he did a lot of good, as much as he could. But he couldn't fuck with the man, he couldn't be president, see. So was Nixon paranoid? Sure I was paranoid. I had election fucking stolen from me. People don't like me because of the way I look. Because I fought communists or was a red baiter. Well, let me tell you something. If I hadn't done that shit, I couldn't have negotiated us out of Vietnam. I couldn't have negotiated with Red China. Couldn't be like some fucking bald-headed Adlai Stevenson go over there begging on your goddamn knees. That's how it works, see? See, most people don't know this because they're liberals and they don't like to give Eisenhower any credit. But what he told the fucking Koreans, the commies, either stop or we're gonna nuclear bomb you. And by the way, my last job was Supreme Allied Commander. And they believed him. Now, he didn't go boasting to the press that he did this and that, but that's how he ended the fucking Korean War. And that was my secret plan, was to make him think that Nixon hated communists so fucking much and bomb the shit out of them so much that Nixon might actually use the nuclear weapons. But the fucking hippies went around and they knew the American people wouldn't support it, so I had to pull out. But that's not what the man wanted, see? The man wanted me to go into Red China. Just like MacArthur did. See, MacArthur went into Red China because they were coming across the Yalu River. Not only were the Red Chinese communists shooting at us, but the Russians were flying the airplanes, killing our boys over in Korea. But Eisenhower settled it. There's only one man that could have settled. There's Eisenhower. See, Eisenhower wanted to be retired. Most people don't know this, but Ike had a heart attack after the war, and he had to go rest. And he felt that we could trust the Russians, but he was wrong. And he came back to be president because he was wrong, out of duty, loyalty. Last thing Ike wanted to do was be president. Ike wanted to make money. Ike didn't have any money. And it's true, Ike didn't like me, and Ike probably got better a lot faster when he got sick because of me. Nonetheless, Ike's my hero, and I'm going to play golf with him later today. Because that's what we do here. We play golf. A lot of golf. You do what you like to do. Probably wonder what like Moses does. Well, he's a farmer. People just were all excited to see that little fruitcake David Frost interview me on TV. Whoop-de-doo. Oh, it's all right if the president does it. Oh, he got me. Let me tell you something. You dumb American people don't know we have 120 fucking bases around the world in 120 fucking countries, you morons. Most of you assholes don't pay enough attention to know that more people died while that hillbilly Bill Clinton was president than George W. Bush. About twice as many. We're fighting a war in Colombia. At least Bush had the courtesy to tell you we were having a war. Clinton lied about it. Selling drugs. It's all about drugs. What do you think the CIA does? They love drugs. Vietnam. They ask anyone that fought there, they have heroin on the front lines, who's bringing it in? Who do you think runs the fucking drugs, you moron people? Who profits off of it? You know how much it costs to lock up a goddamn prisoner for a year? $60,000 a year. Give people jobs. Back in '74, I wanted to have a minimum living wage. That means the minimum wage today would be $10.15. Oh, Nixon's a Republican. That was a conservative alternative to everyone having to have a job, the Humphrey Hawkins bill, but they don't write about that. They write about that I tried to bug some office building, tried to help my friends out by obstructing justice. Well, let me tell you a little history lesson. There's a fella named Lyndon Johnson. Now, Lyndon had good in his heart. He's up here. I don't care much for him. Never did. But Lyndon took more money and bribes than any fucking American in history. He had a buddy named Bobby Baker. Lyndon took so many bribes, they called Bobby Baker the 51st senator. All of a sudden, they busted Bobby Baker. Lyndon didn't know who he was. You had to give so much money to even talk to Lyndon. He considered it an honor to give him a bribe. Nixon didn't take bribes. Nixon did what was right. I had to get elected. Sure, I went after those fucking communists. How else was I going to get elected? Well, I knew it wasn't true. Harry fucking Truman knew. Alger Hiss was a goddamn communist. He didn't like me making it a political issue. And those little Harvard boys, they didn't like ugly Nixon. Poor man's boy. I lost 2 brothers too. They died from tuberculosis. They didn't get shot. Crash airplanes. They worked in my father's grocery store. And I worked in the fucking grocery store. I worked with my hands. You think fucking Jack Kennedy ever had a job? You think he wrote Profiles of Courage? Hell, Ted Sorensen wrote the fucking book. He's still on the goddamn Kennedy payroll. But you love to hate Nixon, don't you? You like to say Nixon, oh, Nixon hated Jews, huh? Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. I used to be accused of being part Jew. Most of you don't know this, but I'm a Quaker. I don't talk like one, but I'm a Quaker. I like peace. My mother, Hannah, she was a devout Quaker. She took care of my 2 brothers and watched them die in her arms. Frank Nixon, my old man, wasn't out screwing movie stars like Gloria Swanson, like that old man Kennedy. Old man Kennedy, he was a real anti-Semite. He was a real Jew hater. He liked Hitler, not Nixon, not Nixon, not Nixon.